Hi, I'm Terri Murphy with the Women's Wisdom Network, here for Realty Times as the senior editor. And we also have women in real estate, women in business, and in the men's room with Murph. Now, today we have a spectacular woman in the real estate sector. Her name is Betsy Cameron. She works for Ebby Halliday, one of the most renowned independents in the country. She serves as their vice president of business initiatives. She is one dyed-in-the-wool Texan. She has been a Dallasite for more than 20 years of experience in residential real estate industry. Welcome, Miss Betsy.
Thank you, Terry. It's great to be here.
Well, we're delighted to have you. I can't wait to share you with our women in business and our women in real estate. You know, you have proven leadership skills, and as a the vice president of business initiatives for Ebby Halliday companies. You're also a sales leader for Ebby's iconic Little White House office. I want to hear about that. And Dave Miller Real Estate's Lakewoods office. So that's obviously other offices. But you work alongside executives to offer strategic vision. And today that is, whoa, it's a little crazy because our strategies that worked here are suddenly put under real pressure. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing to address the new real estate market and the new real estate agent.
So the new real estate market is way new this year, right? Especially with going through 2020 and having to adjust a little bit of everything. Within my departments, the education department having to adjust to go into a whole virtual offering as opposed to in person. And now we're shifting to a hybrid model. So we're constantly trying to adjust to make sure that we can offer what our agents need at their level. And then within the field offices, talking with our agents about what your listing presentation looks like now, what is working with a buyer look like. It's completely different. So, really just trying to stay ahead of the market and where we are.
Well, as you know, the agent today it has training everywhere. Whether or not they embrace it is another issue. And I know that you have some really great initiatives for education. As a matter of fact, you've got a summit coming up this year and soon. And you're bringing in some people to help bring a different voice. Because as you know, as a mom, because you're a mom of what, 3 boys?
2 boys.
That's enough.
2 boys. No, don't give me another.
Yeah, really. 2 boys. Well, I consider you the husband, one of the boys, I guess. But
yes,
when you understand that you've got generational dynamics, gender dynamics, ethnicities, because we are such a global network now, especially in Texas, where Ebby Halliday has blossomed for over the years. Tell us, in your opinion, how that listing presentation has had to morph.
Well, the listing presentation looks a whole lot different these days. It is more about, we drive the relationship piece of making sure our agents are staying connected with their clients through nurturing those relationships, because it's moving so fast that you want to be top of mind as an agent. And so that listing presentation focuses more on the relationship with the client and building that connection with them so that you are top of mind. You are the first person they think of, as opposed to, farming and that type of thing. But it's more dialing down into the relationship.
And when I met you hosting the RIS Media panel, and I was so impressed with that because our goal as master coaches is to drive the relationship. Can you give us one example of what you mean by driving the relationship? Like maybe it's an event, maybe it's a process or an initiative. Would you mind sharing that?
No, not at all. I have agents that do event. They'll host events. They'll do gatherings for their clients where they actually come, whether it's picnic outside. We've had that transpire with COVID, where they've, brought in, the Easter Bunny and done pictures outside and outdoor events, that type of thing in order to, or getting a group together and going to clean up at White Rock Lake, which is a lake here in town, to do kind of a cleanup effort, but inviting those clients and doing it kind of as a group effort, just thinking outside of the box and that type of mindset of how do you drive relationships, not dollar.
That is so, that's just like candy to my ears. Having been licensed since forever. I will tell you that the relationships are what survive. And I think if more agents understood that, and that core value that comes from Ebby Halliday really speaks to what the consumer's looking for today. Don't you agree that they're looking more for consultation and collaboration versus what can you do to sell my house? Because we all know that right now, you just have to stand out there with a paper sign and it'll be sold in 10 minutes.
Yes, yes, it's more of support. It's coming from a mindset and making sure you're there for your client, because right now, as I'm sure in a lot of markets, you're dealing with 30 multiple offers coming in. You're dealing with buyers getting cold feet, and that's hard to process as and you're so emotional as a client, through the buying and selling process. It is so important to have an agent to help guide you through that. And so that's huge.
You bring up a really excellent point. We often forget because we're so transactional. I mean, you list a property, it goes under contract, you get them ready for closing. But you just think about it right now. If you had to go home and start packing up all your stuff and putting it in boxes, and then that there's an emotional moment there because you have to sort. What do I need? You've been carrying this stuff in a bag at a time for maybe 20 years. It's strongly emotional. And I don't know that the agents understand that unless you've moved recently or moved someone. That is enormously stressful. And so, the relationship piece really helps. What, in your opinion, and I kind of know the answer to this, but in your opinion, what's the biggest challenge an agent has today to staying connected?
Well, I hear a couple of things from my agents. My agents will say, well, with the COVID and we're not opened up and we can't really be with people and we can't, be in person with people. And they really struggle with the fact that we're people and we love to be around people in person. And so that's been a huge struggle, and trying to find other ways to make those connections and foster those relationships without being able to host big parties and be at big events and conferences and summits and things like that. So the Zoom, how grateful we are for the Zoom and the Google and all of that, the virtual opportunities, we're still people. So I think that would probably be one of our biggest challenges, is trying to reset.
And so, Betsy, one of the things that we're grateful for is, yes, we are able to connect with Zoom and creative ways. I mean, drive-bys became very popular. Staying connected, though, especially during a time of pandemic, had to be really something that you all focused on, because I know what you did when you did it. You're a big proponent of Patrick Lencioni, which, of course, we are too, with the team player of the three virtues: humble, hungry, and smart. Tell us, in your opinion, how the culture at Ebby Halliday supports that.
Wow. So we really drive everything we do off of that concept, the humble, hungry, and smart. So, within our leadership, within our, field offices, and every person that is a part of Ebby Halliday, we really focus on making sure that we're all humble, hungry, and smart in everything we do, and really listening to others and asking good questions and, praising. And it's not about me, it's about our team. And so that's what we focus on every single day.
Yeah, that's been a big shift. We've gone from ego to service, which I think is, those were the days, the glory days of when you were like the big deal, but you were never the big deal. You just got better at serving more people. And so I really appreciate that. And you talk about the 4 disciplines of execution, which is one of my favorite books, by the way. And it talks about focusing on the wildly important goals every day, because would you agree that real estate is a shock collar kind of business?
Yes. Yes.
Somebody calls and boom, your whole day is.
What's the other term of it? The Pop-Tart agent. Like everybody's they're popping up and going wherever they need to go.
So how do you keep your group? I know that you have accountability, and I know that you have some counseling and coaching. Just give us a quick example of how you keep your people focused in basically what is a whirlwind industry.
Right. So, I think probably the most important thing with agents is that they have that business plan in place, because that's where they can put in their wildly important goals. And then, understanding what are their lead measures in order to, be successful and hit those goals. And so sitting down and making sure that each of our agents has that business plan in place, and walking through that with them, and not only our new agents, but every agent, needs to have something in place so that they have something to reach for.
That is so smart, because, even if you get off course, it sort of acts like Siri can bring you back. So let's just talk about you for a second. You're a mom of two boys. You do a ton of work in your community and for Ebby Halliday. I know that you often are over the top on details. Can I say that carefully? Yes, which has served you well both in your leadership and your management roles. But you also manage a family, and you manage a marriage, and you manage you. If I was if I was one of those people that was having a Murphy's Law day where nothing was going perfectly, and I'm looking at you, beautiful and vibrant and smiling and sunny, just annoyingly cheerful, what would you say to them about how you manage to keep yourself, in order to be a leader? You have to keep yourself focused on wildly important goals. And we know that real estate will rob you, if you allow it to, of life, because we don't live to do real estate. We use real estate to live. So tell us, could you share one kind of closing comment about how you might do that?
Well, there are so many days like that are extremely challenging, and but really staying focused, and starting your day. For me personally, I start my day with gratitudes and affirmations, and I have a routine where every morning that's what I start with: my gratitudes, affirmations. I write 2 notes a day. I think it's so important, and it's such a personal touch, and it's not a huge paragraph, but it's a note, and it's on a rare occasion that people do that anymore. And so I think it's important. Yes.
Okay, I just want to let you know she walks her talk, and here it is. And I was annoyed that you got it before I got it to you, because I also do notes. But isn't that just the most, what do I want to say? For me, it's exhilarating to get something in writing that someone has put their energy on in a previous moment, to share something. I mean, you and I are so far apart in so many ways, and yet you find time to write 2 notes a day. Now, what has that done for you? I know what it did for me to get it, but
Well, I'll tell you the other thing that I do with those notes. So I when I get notes, I have a stack of them in a cabinet. And so when you were mentioning those days that are really rough and we're having to really pick ourselves up off the floor, I go into that cabinet and I pull out, the notes, and I'll just read through them, because it's very touching. And somebody took the time to write their thoughts, and it's really big. Yes, it's
think
big.
about that. So if we are only our attention, if we only have the now, because even in this moment, it's passing, and someone takes a moment to say, thinking of you. If we did that with people that we loved, if we did it with people we want to stay connected with, our most valuable people, our sphere of influence, just a note that says, I hope you're doing okay. We haven't talked, but I just want to let you know I'm thinking about you and sending you some good, vibes.
Exactly. Right.
Making people feel special.
It always happens when I wrote 2 notes the other day to a couple of my team members, and they both separately called me and said, I can't tell you how much that note meant to me today. I was really needing that. And so it's such a feel good, to receive them and to give them. To write them is even more feel good for me.
I have to say, so Bob Berg, who's a good friend of mine, who wrote Endless Referrals and the whole Go Giver series, he and I've we've been friends for a long time. But in his original book, Endless Referrals, he said, don't take a card unless you're willing to go to the next step. And I used to make a joke about how your dry cleaners got so many leads because they were all in your pocket. But when you take a card or you meet someone and then you punctuate it with a follow-up, like this is so personal and so powerful. And it's easy to see why you're such an asset to Ebby Halliday and to your community and to your family, those boys. You don't look old enough to have those boys, but they are definitely beautiful kids. In closing, would you like to give some kind of an advice or insight, or if I only knew then what I know now, to some of the other women that might be watching this and or hearing it?
Sure. I would say lean in. Lean into your support system. Have a mentor or a coach or somebody to lean into to bounce ideas and to support you on those days that just are not going real great, but also to give you vision of what things to come and things to implement, because I think we can all learn from each other,
Oh,
and
yes.
supporting each other is probably the most important thing we as women can do right now. And I think we can go major places if we all lean in. So
I have to just tell you, you're so adorable and so precious to share that. That's what Women's Wisdom Network's all about. Women helping women. And I will tell you, it's brave and courageous of you to say things don't always go perfectly, because with social media and with media in general, it always looks like everything is perfect and wonderful. And yet, everybody has a junk drawer somewhere. Okay. You just know that. But the good news is that when we authentically help each other, everything rises. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope you'll join us for another segment of Women's Wisdom Network coming up. Please say
absolutely.
hello to all of our friends at Ebby Halliday. We miss her, but she is just going to stay right here in my heart, because she did offer me a hug when I left. So I'm going to keep that forever in my memory. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Terri Murphy for the Women's Wisdom Network. Join us again for another inspiring interview of Women Helping Women.